focus, that'd be great. All right, this is 9.2 over reflection. So a reflection, in the easiest term, is a flip. You are flipping something over a line, right? When you take a selfie on your phone, your image is flipped, but it looks identical, except the fact that it's flipped. So when we perform a reflection, what we have is a line that we flip that image over. So that's what it is. So the line, the image is reflected over. All right, so with example 1, we are going to start with points P, y'all. Okay, point P is at what coordinate? Where is this at? Okay, so that's at 2, 4. So this R in this notation just means a reflection. Where do you guys think that? Where do you think this P came from?
On the P.
Right. This is just what we're reflecting. Okay. Now, this little portion here, that is the line that we are going to flip our shape over. So our first one is y equals -3. Everyone go to the y-axis. If you forgot where the y-axis is at, here it is. Okay, go find -3. Put your pencil on it. Now, what makes more sense? To draw that line right on the y-axis or opposite of the y-axis?
Opposite.
Okay, we're going to draw it this way because if it is reflected across the y-axis, it will just say y-axis. It's not going to say y equals -3. Okay, so it's opposite of the axis. So what we're going to do is flip this point over that line. So it should be the same distance from the line on each side. So here's where your awesome counting skills come into play. Everyone watch up here. Watch the screen. Don't look at your paper.
Wait.
Okay. I'm going to just put my pencil on the line and then count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that is how far it should be in the opposite direction. So I'm going to go back to the line and go in the opposite direction, 7 units. Does that look like it's the same distance from that line on both sides?
No. Yes.
No.
That is not.
It is. It is.
Huh? Because it's the dotted line, not the middle line.
It's the dotted line, right? Here is my line. Yes, that's why we drew the dotted line. That is what we were flipping over. Okay, so I'm going to name this P prime. P prime. Okay, so P prime is at 2, -10.
So the -3 is where the line is. It's not,
Right.
It's not like.
Okay, so you see down here where we are actually going to flip over the y-axis? Then we will use the 2 axes. But right now, this is our line of reflection.
Why is even in it? It says RY. Why is it?
Because the line is at y equals -3. That tells me it's going to be horizontal.
I'm sorry.
That's fine. Okay, so the next one is going to be the opposite.
I love that.
Okay, guys, look. X equals -2. So now what axis are we going to go to? X-axis at -2. So go to the x-axis, go find -2. And then what makes more sense? Draw it right on the x-axis or up and down?
Up and down.
Right, because if it was the x-axis, it would just say that. No, as long as it's like on that line. Okay, so now we are going to flip P over that dashed line. So I'm going to count from the dashed line to the point. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Does everyone see where I got 4 from?
Yes, ma'am.
So then what do I do with that 4 now?
Then you do the opposite.
1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to call that P double prime because it's a different point. So I'm going to call it something different. All right, the next one is kind of nice. The next one is just the y-axis. We should all know where the y-axis is by now. We even have it labeled. How nice is that? Okay, so you're just counting from the y-axis. So 1, 2. Okay, guys. So then you count 2 in the opposite direction.
So would that mean that would be triple prime?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so this line of reflection is the y-axis. Where is the y-axis at?
Up and down.
This up and down.
It's the y.
So it is 1, 2 away. So I count 1, 2 away in the opposite direction.
So it'll be negative 2, 4.
So it's triple prime at negative 2, 4.
So you are too.
So guys, on most of your, on your assignments, you're not going to do 1,000 reflections on one graph. You'll just have one reflection to do. I mean, they can be if, well, if you ask questions, figure it out. Okay. The next one is the x-axis. Does everyone see where I found x-axis at?
Yeah.
Where is it? Okay, but it tells you that right here. Okay, the x-axis is right here. So I don't really need to sketch that because it's already there. So I'm going to count from the x-axis to my point. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this will be P quad prime. Okay, this last line of reflection is at y equals x. Here's your reminder as to what y equals x looks like. Okay, so we need to graph this line on our graph. Okay, so start at the origin, count up 1 over 1. You don't need to do it in your calculator, but just know that y equals x is the diagonal that just goes up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. Okay, so this one's a little bit more tricky because now we're trying to reflect across a diagonal. But watch how cool this is. It's really not as tricky as it may seem. Okay, so the original point was at 2, 4. If you have y equals x, all you have to do to the points is flip-flop it. So P 5 prime, however you say that, is at 4, 2. So to get your new coordinate when you're reflecting across, guys, seriously. So who can summarize for us? What do we do if we're reflecting across this diagonal?
You flip the numbers.
No, it doesn't matter. You just go diagonal and you count, just like you would do it if it was right away.
Okay, to be the most accurate, flip the coordinate. Okay, write down the coordinates you have, flip-flop the number, plot it. Okay, thank you. All right, so that is how you reflect across y equals x. There will be one like this on your assignment. So just write down the coordinates, flip-flop the numbers. The rest of them you can just count. That's fine. Okay? Questions? Yep. So if you look, this is also a reminder for that. Okay? If you flip, just have to flip-flop the numbers. We could also use these rules too, but I think it's easier just to count.